Welcome to Lesson 12 of PSRM Fundamentals Overview. Here we'll be discussing audits. And we will be introducing the audit case within the system and also showing how you can actually create an audit tax form. An audit tax form will be used to can be used to make changes in the underlying tax form and create different and new assessments. Last lesson we looked at a suppression and created a manual suppression which described to you how overdue processes, overpayments and P&I can be suppressed for a particular period. And we'll see that this is going to be important when we create an audit case. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to my case management and create an audit case. And I'm going to be picking out the business taxpayer audit. And the audit is going to start on, let's say, on the 1st of October. And the reason is that we think there's some what he says over here, some unclaimed income, questionable credits. Well, I'm not sure if that's a required field, but I actually think there might be some other income, unmentioned income. Unreported income. It's come from an external report, let's say, and review process control. We'll see that part of the audit is a review process, and we're going to use the audit case review. And the audited obligation that we are worried about is our example, and that is the third quarter. And we're going to add in the accountant for this particular business, and that happens to be myself. And there could be different roles I can add in as well for users of the system. I'm not going to add those in, so I just save that. So I'm starting what is called an audit case. And what I would like to do now is to go to, if I want to do, I can also add in some attachments of documents which are in the system, maybe from the external report. Now, first of all, I'm going to actually see that I'm in pending state. I'm going to, first of all, start the audit. And as you see, the audit is in progress. The suppression says that I have actually it's created suppression in the background. Again, previously we created a suppression manually, but now we have an active suppression, and we can have a look at that suppression to see what has been suppressed. We'll see that overdue processes and overpayment cannot be created, but there's not going to change the balance because the P&I is not under suppression. Okay. So the first thing that we see is that we will need to do, to start this process, we're going to actually do a review to see of this particular obligation. This starts a review and opens for me a create review. Okay, so I want to create a review, and I can create a review to audit assessment review, and it's going to be, again, I'm going to be backward in time. I'm going to be doing it on the, let's say it's going to be on the 11th. No, I'm not sure. Sorry. We can even say today, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what date we have. I'm not dealing with the dates currently. And once I created the review, you can see the current review in this particular thing, in the actual case, and tells you actually when the expected response will be. So let's just have a look at that review. First event response should be expected by, next year in a week's time. There's a review in progress. Now, when we started this review, we're going to actually now look at the tax form. So I'm going to go and I'm going to create another tab. Move it over there. And what I'm going to do is bring up the tax form for store BBB, which is under audit. See the different tax forms, and which tax form are we under audit? Well, we can know that by hopefully the obligation. Didn't mean to do that. I clicked on the obligation instead of the actual tax form. Sometimes you have to be careful about what you click on. It's this one over here. You see that this is the one, the third quarter. It's under audit. So what do? Is I can click on audit here. And I'm going to reference the audit case that I just created. And you see the audit case is now referenced here, and now it's a pending audit. I'm going to actually go and look at the lines and see if they're actually correct. And I realize that they've missed out some purchase subject to tax over here, so I'm going to have to edit this. I'm going to have to add in in fact there was quite a lot of extra amount. And I can put change reason here, audit review. Make sure the calculation is now correct. So there's no actual extra payment here. Let me just change this. Check the form. So now when I save this, I can validate the audit form. The interesting thing here is that even though I haven't posted the form, there's another section called estimated balance It shows me what the expected changes that will take place. There's going to be a proposed new assessment for 500. I can even put in the date here and forecast the future P&I based upon this amount. And what I'm going to do now is post it, and it should create a new assessment because of the audit. So I mean, actually, or even before I do that, that's my expectation, right? That's what I expected to do. Let me go back to my review on my audit and edit it. Well, start the review. I have actually sort of started it. And I'm editing it to respond to say that this looks like this 500 should really be added on a new assessment, review a response type, and I'm not sure. Taxpayer escalated to the next layer, let's say, wants to, that's the expected thing to do in this case. And let's say this is review response due date, but this was done early. In fact, what's going to happen is that I believe the taxpayer is going to appeal this. So this review can be closed. Taxpayer wants to escalate this and perhaps start an actual appeal. He's going to close this review. And if I go back now to my audit case, I now have a closed review. Right? There's some unreported income from an external report. There's a current report, a review, which has now been closed. And you can actually see the audited tax form over here, the expected amount that is going to actually be affected by the new balance. So everything can be shown in this screen. And can send a letter to the particular taxpayer to say that in fact there's an audit notice or has been completed, send it to his accountant, myself. And I can actually close this. Well, before I do that, I can make a final decision. And what the final decision for this particular audit is that we're going to add that $500 the assessment. So the final decision, I'm going to actually post this, and it will affect the balance of the taxpayer. Now he will not be in credit, it will be in debit for $200 because of the extra. If I look at my display, I now show that I am in debit for 200. So the audit case can now be closed. I expect that this might lead to an appeal by the customer, by the taxpayer. New assessments confirmed, approved, and that's the end of the audit case. So this is an example of a case management life cycle, which can be customized by implementations depending on what the needs are, but interacts with the actual tax form itself and allows you to see the updated estimated balance and the effect, and so on. So what we've seen is there's a life cycle to the audit, starts in pending, and it then goes through a review process. And once the reviews are completed, a final decision is made, and it closes the audit. And what we didn't look at, just go back for a second, when we close that, if we looked at the suppression, suppression has now been released. Okay, so the suppression was released on today's date. It started on beginning of October, and for that period of time, no overpayments or overdue processes could have been created. And we saw that within the audit life cycle, there's a review process which starts in pending and progress, and we response are recorded, and then they are closed. And these are the different types of entities that we have seen. We have seen that there is an audit case. We haven't actually looked at the audit case type. Obviously, there is always an audit case type. And the audit case type defines the different configurations that are needed for that audit case, what the review control is, what suppression is going to be used, and so on. And we've seen the review process control, which is linked to, also has a review type as well. So overall, an audit is a process which uses suppression that within that case management, that time frame in which you're actually going through an audit, the audit can be linked to a specific suppression, and it goes through a review process, and you can, in the case of an audit, you can link the audit case to an audit tax form, and you can make changes to that tax form and create what's called an audited tax form and create new assessments.